Around 6 years ago, I stopped wearing pants. And in the first place, it was because I had a back injury and the any pants I owned just pushed exactly that point, which really hurt so badly. And skirts and dresses didn't. So I got rid of all the pants I owned and just wore skirts and dresses, which was a bit radical, but somehow I got myself convinced that pants are just not for me. By now, it's 6 years later, and I realized that maybe pants aren't that bad. The back and injury healed, so I don't have this pain issue anymore. And especially when out and about, using public restrooms is when I feel pants are the most useful because the skirts sometimes touch the ground and I don't like that. So I feel with pants that's less of an issue. So I thought I will sew myself some pants because buying wasn't that successful yet. I couldn't find any I liked visually and that which fit me. So I bought a pattern by Aura Lynn. I hope that's correctly pronounced. And will sew them now so that I have vintage style pants, which will make my wardrobe a little bit more versatile.
And since it is the right thing to do, I started with a mock-up, but also pants usually don't fit me quite right, so I wanted to be sure to make the perfect pants so that when I start wearing pants again, I just love it. And I'm really glad I did because I chose size H, which should, by the measurements, be exactly my size, but it ended up way too big. I've absolutely no idea why, because I remeasured it and the pattern is the correct one, the size is the correct one. By now, I really just think that my body is really weird. But anyway, I decided to go on with this mock-up and not choose a smaller size. I just make two big pleats in the front, removing a lot of fabric, and then somewhat at the waistline at the side and a lot at the back seam. And once sewn, it looked quite well. It was almost perfect. I decided to cut the mock-up apart and then transfer each piece to my paper pattern, which was a good idea because there were so many places where I had to change something, which I had forgot about in the meantime. I took away fabric in the front, middle seam, at the back seam, in the darts, the entire leg. And as you can see, I took away a lot of fabric in the front piece.
In the meantime, I made a decision to follow my mood of change and have my hair cut off. I have them as long for years now. I liked it. I didn't enjoy the maintenance. It just takes so much time. And therefore, I think I will cut them off now, approximately shoulder length, and we'll see if I like that more. And if not, they will grow in 2 years. They're as long as now again, so I don't worry about that. And currently they are almost butt long, so yeah, that will be a change, and I'm super excited. That's it. They're gone. I am really surprised how much weight this braid was and how airy and light this feels. I'm not quite sold on the cut yet, but I intend to curl them and make them look more 1940s. But I'm really glad I did it. I will let grow the side cut and for now hide it underneath the other hair. But I'm so happy I did it. It feels so good. And this is how it turned out. I'm really happy with it. I don't regret cutting them off at all. Yesterday I was a little bit doubtful with the straight hair, but with the curls, I really like it. I'm not yet happy with the way I did the curls. I did a dam set and turned some curls the wrong direction, but that's something I have to learn how to do with my hair, how to deal with them, how to style them, and they probably have to get used to be curled too. So that will take some time, and still I'm really happy with the change I did, and now we can go on with the pants.
I got some yarns from my stash and tried to find the best matching one. So, a couple of days have passed and I didn't sew anything. I don't even cut out the fabric. And I think after talking with a friend, I figured out why. And the reason is that this fabric I chose mostly for the color is corduroy. And I had some issues with corduroy before, but I think we should do a little detour to explain my problem. So I made this Lens Girl outfit with corduroy pants and I wore them 4 times, but almost immediately they rubbed off in the crotch area. And I was so annoyed about it because I wanted to wear them as hiking pants. And they are work pants. So I decided to add some leather patches in that area so they look later like riding pants. And it worked well. It was just a real pain to add them later after sewing everything together and not accidentally sewing parts together which shouldn't be sewn together. But I managed it to pin them with really fine pins into place and then sew them with a zigzag stitch into place. And the advantage of leather in this case is that it doesn't fray. So I was able to save these pants. They look like vintage riding pants now, which is okay, and for hiking and everything it's great. But it wasn't what I wanted. And that frustrated me so much. I just didn't want to waste a lot of time in making pants and then just have to sew patches on again. So now that I know what the problem with this whole project was to me, why I didn't want to cut it out, just because I don't want to repeat that rubbing off of fabric, I decided to choose another fabric. And I wanted to use some fabric I already own. I have one wool which I love, which was actually planned to be a vest for my partner, but I have so much fabric that I think I can also make pants out of it. So I'll show you. So this is it. It's a lovely green. I love green. And I hope this is just more rewarding than using a fabric I think will be destroyed pretty soon. And for the corduroy, I think I will do another project, maybe a vest or something. I just hope it will be used someday, but now I will use this. So let's do that finally. I started with laying out all the pieces for my pants and the waistcoat for my partner, just to see if I have enough fabric, and I do, so I was able to cut all the pant pieces, because for the waistcoat I still have to make a mock-up to see if it actually fits, but I didn't do that yet. And with the fabric as used as efficiently as possible, I moved on to the lining fabric. Because it's a wool and quite scratchy, I wanted to add a lining at least to the knee line. And technically I should just have added the lining to the front piece, because that's what you do in men's tailoring. But for some reason I also cut out the lining for the back pieces. And once they were cut, I just decided to use them too. In hindsight, that wouldn't be necessary, but well, I didn't want to waste the fabric then. And for the lining, I'm using cotton satin, which is sturdy but soft at the same time. I also cut out the pockets from some poplin I had. Once all the pieces were cut out, I basted the lining to the main pieces so that they don't move against each other and it can just handle them as one piece of fabric. Then adding the darts, of which I had quite a lot. And a really cool technique from the pattern I learned is to sew the pleats as kind of darts with a rounded tip, which reinforces the seam and makes the pleats way sturdier, which I find really, really cool. Then I close the side seams, making sure that the lining stays at the correct position, and then top stitched over the seam at the back piece. And the pattern has a really cool technique of sewing in the zipper. I won't share here because I think it would be unfair sharing a tip from her pattern, but in general it is that you sew in the zipper before sewing the pants together, and for me that was such a game changer because I hate sewing in zippers and this made it so much easier. Then I removed some excess fabric at the pockets and sewed and top stitched the pockets into place. Once all the pieces of the front pants were put together, I basted every fold, every layer into place so that it's way easier to sew in the waistband.
Today I'm a little bit piratey around the ears in order to hide the curls, the pink curls. It looks so weird to me, but anyways, I almost finished the pants. It's only missing the waistband, but I ran out of yarn. And since there's a lot of top stitching going on, I will have to wait until this arrives. Until then, I probably will do another project. But this is something that happens currently a lot of times, especially when I'm sewing pants, because they need more yarn than I think. So I hope I keep that in mind for the next time.
So I continued with pinning on the belt loops and sewing them in place. Sewing the waistband was also a step I could do because that seam isn't visible.
I was wrong. I could sew a lot more than I thought with just black thread. So I did that. I added the waistband. Now I can stitch in the lining by hand or finish it by hand. And then I have to wait for the yarn to arrive. But that's a huge step further, so that's pretty cool. May someone explain to me how it is possible to have an almost perfectly fitting mock-up and then a final product which is not fitting? I did a little test wearing and I absolutely hate how these folds are created here. And I didn't have that with the mockup. I definitely didn't. I even made some changes in order to reduce folds that were in this direction. So I made the crotch shorter. And now it apparently is too short. I know that this fabric is way heavier than my mock-up fabric, but I didn't expect it to be like that. So I'm not sure what to do now. I either can turn around the folds so that they face outwards, but I don't think that will help with those here because the fabric is still there. So I'm gonna try to replace a little bit of the crotch seam line so that I gain 1 centimeter of fabric. It's so annoying, really. I mean, other than that, it fits very well. Just these stupid... Or maybe I'm too critical. That's possible too, but I want to make something really well looking and something where I'm feeling good in. And I don't feel good in this right now. So I have to change it and hopefully it will fix it.
So I replaced the seam in the crotch, basically making the seam allowance way smaller in that area. It wasn't that much and I think there's still enough seam allowance, but well, it would have been better if I did it correct in the beginning.
Okay, I think that helped, at least a little bit, I'm not sure. They're still there. I can, if I pull that folds flat, make them disappear, or almost disappear. Or I just don't stand straight, then they're not that visible either. So either I have to always be moving or somehow get those folds to want to lay like that. Just like... Or maybe I should have reduced some fabric here, but then it would have been too tight. Ah! Is that too much material? Too much fabric here. I don't know what to do with that. Maybe I just leave it like it. Try to iron those really, really tightly so that they just want to lay like this. And then be happy with it. That's a really unpleasant way to solve it. Or I'm just way too critical. That's possible too. Maybe it's even not visible on camera, I don't know. But it's very visible in the mirror, and I don't like it. Maybe it's not the style of pants for me. Could sew that shut. Take the whole fold and sew it flat. Okay, so I think I've solved this problem with the fit issue. I'm not entirely happy with it. I would have loved to have didn't have the problem in the beginning, so I have it fixed in the pattern already, but I can't do that anymore for this pants. So I think it's okay. I will show you in a second, but first I have to add the button and the closure, remove all the threads, and finish the hem. So that's what I'm going to do now.
The button actually is on the inside of the pants, so it isn't visible, which I find quite cool. I sewed it on, then I added a skirt hook, which is a little bit sturdier than usual hooks and eyes. Lastly, I hemmed both legs. And that's it. I have now pants. So I promised you a solution, and it is a really ugly one. I sewed right next to the hidden side of the fold and fixated the fold this way, so the fabric doesn't appear on the front. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to make the perfect pants as I hoped. I think they're too short, the front crotch area is annoying, but overall I think I will wear them and learn what I can change for the next ones. Thanks for watching, and if you want, subscribe. Bye!